Michaels, welcome to the show. You know we got to talk about what happened.
Where's your proof that $150 million was offered from Bibi Netanyahu?
No, I'm referring.
Where is the proof?
Please do not get
No, because I didn't want to cover this, and you guys insisted. And I told you, you cover this shit, I'm going to rip you apart. Little did we...
Nobody could ever tell me that they were going to rip me apart, too, by the way. So anyway, we already know that, what's his name? Brandon Tatum was so excited. I'm so excited to have you on, Jillian. That's why we're going to talk about, I mean, like, calm down, Brandon. Like, that's how it feels. Like, bro, take it down a notch, right? Okay. Now, anyway, we're going to get right into it, guys. Right off the bat, I'm going to ask if you guys can hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. I am trying to push out everything that I'm doing to everybody, everywhere, and that is the way to do it. That's number one. I'm grateful to everybody who's watching, and because I'm kind of shifting over a little bit from the whole Erica Kirk thing, just for now, because I don't have anything really new to talk about with that. It's going to throw off the algorithm, so I'm going to need your help, guys. I'm being very transparent. Thank you to everybody who watches. Let's get right into the glazing that's getting ready to happen.
I didn't want to talk about this. So can you kind of explain how it started and what made you so frustrated that you said, look, I can't sit here and do this with you guys?
Okay, there's a lot of lead up to it, so bear with me and I'll try to be concise. I brought Ana Kasparian onto the show. I made the case for her with PBD. I think she's a very talented journalist. I think she has been increasingly hostile and in some cases a little bit more unhinged when it comes to topics that involve Israel. I appreciate a healthy criticism of both sides. I have engaged in dialogue with experts on both sides. I've spoken to everyone from having her on my show, Dave Smith on my show, Dr. Gad Saad, Batya Ungar Sargon. I mean, both sides. And it is an interview. It is not a debate. I think the vast majority of us are not really qualified to be experts on this subject matter. So as I become increasingly uncomfortable with regard to her level of hostility on the subject matter, I wanted to tone down the rhetoric on our show. This is our show. And PBD basically said to me, you're the point guard. You're the tip of the spear. You're in charge, right? Everybody has their own platform. Sure, freedom of speech, 100%. It doesn't mean I have to participate in it. And it doesn't mean you don't respect and appreciate my boundaries. And it doesn't mean you mislead me, in particular with regard to which direction you're planning on going here. And what I mean by that is I had begun to say, I would like to back off the Israel topics for a while. Every single show, for the most part, was like, let's talk about how awful Israel is. Let's talk about how awful Israel is. I'm not an expert. There's no one there to push back. You weren't there to push back. Batya wasn't there to push back. Coleman Hughes wasn't there to push back. There's nobody on the other side presenting a fair case. And I said, you know what, guys, let's taper off this. We didn't taper off of it. The night before, I see the segment about Tyler Robinson that was meant to discuss some of the conspiracy theories, in particular, dismantling his gun in a certain amount of time, this man in the crowd that I believe had been seen in 9/11, how bizarre his texts were between himself and his lover. And I was like, okay, sure. Yep, you guys want to go for it. As I go into the main document to write out the skeleton for the show, I see that Israel has been included. And I say, guys, this was covered a week ago. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. It's the first night of Rosh Hashanah. I mean, we just buried this man. This is kind of a gross narrative. And I think it's dangerous. I think it is completely unfounded. If anything, his business partner or best friend just came out and said, like, no evidence of this. Dave Smith, for goodness sake, was like, if anybody's going to say there's no evidence of it, there's no evidence of this. Bill Ackman came out with receipts. It's been, in my opinion, relatively debunked. There's far more evidence to suggest it is a farce, right? And no evidence to suggest that there's merit. And I said, I think these narratives are dangerous. And I think that they stoke anti-Semitism. Obviously, under the pretense you guys don't want that, I think it could be inadvertent. I think it's irresponsible. I don't want to do this. It's not news. I get railroaded, and it's like, no. People are talking about this, but by all means, you say that. And Anna says, to her credit, there is no evidence for this. Amy says, I don't believe this. And I said, then why are we covering this? If there's no evidence and you don't believe it. Lindy had yet to weigh in on that chain. I have the text messages, by the way. Should any one of them want to fire back and claim it's not true, I have all of the messages. I have the receipts. So they're like, well, you know, because everyone's talking about it. So you could just say there's no evidence. I'm thinking, all right, we're all at least, thank God, on the same page. So I guess we're going into this to try to dispel this. Amy then begins her segment and she's presenting evidence for it and zero evidence against it. So now I'm like, wait a second, hold on, what is happening here? And I start to say, you've neglected to mention this, you neglected to mention that. And her and Lindy Lee began fighting again for the case that Israel is responsible. And now I'm saying, what evidence do you have of this? You haven't presented evidence that Blumenthal, I believe his name was, that the journalist who claimed Israel offered Charlie $150 million, that this guy's linked to or has been arguably compromised or taken payments from Iran and Qatar to write for those types of like Al Jazeera, so on and so forth.
Let me help you out with the because I tried. I swear to you, I was like, I'm not going to cut in. I'm not going to cut in. But you know what? I just no. Like, okay. Number one, let me help you out with Iran payments. I'm not going to say Qatar, but Iran. She took it too far. Iran is sanctioned from the USA. You can't just get payments from Iran and think that you're not going to get like arrested or something like that. Like the heavy sanctions that we've placed. This is why people like this, to me, should. I mean, look, again, get your bag, do whatever. Why don't you just stick to fitness? You're really good at that, right? You know, you have the adrenaline for it. Leave the geopolitics to somebody else. And I let this keep going because she's making herself out to be this victim, you know, and leaving out the part that she is of Jewish descent. Come on, right? That's what got you mad. That's why you're tired of talking about Israel. Sorry, bro. They're on the news constantly. So hold up. We can't talk about them, but Netanyahu's constantly coming here, giving his demands and everything else, but we can't talk about them, right? Make it make sense. It's just like, you just got to act like none of this stuff is happening. Oh, Ana Kasparian gets unhinged when it comes to Israel. Yeah, I don't know. After you read the Israel lobby, you look at the clean break memo, you hear about the Oded Yanan plan, and you are an American who's watched American soldiers come back looking like friggin' like weird porcelain dolls from being burned up in like, you know, these ridiculous bombs and stuff like that, and wars that we had no business being in. I don't know. It would kind of make me feel weird too. I think I might feel some type of way, right? Never mind the fact, I don't expect you to care about the fact that Palestinian people are being indiscriminately bombed, allegedly, you know, where I work. Like, come on, stop it. And so she's putting this thing out here like, oh, I was blindsided. I didn't know that they were going to, oh, no, we shouldn't talk about, and she didn't let them finish. When you look at the clip, she doesn't let them finish. They were saying that there's no evidence to this, but they were reporting about what everybody was talking about. And somebody said Israel. And so because you started getting worked up, you told that girl, I'm going to rip you apart. You're going to rip somebody apart? Anyway, and if you don't believe she's Jewish, I just made another episode, so I'm not going back to find the paperwork. I made an episode that'll come out, and you'll see the proof. Come on. You know, like, it's just ridiculous. We know that there was no evidence. That was the whole point. Me personally, the thing is, though, here's the thing, is that I do have in my mind, and there were some connections and how this happened. And I do not discount the fact that those people might be involved. But I always said, I'm never going to push this issue because I'm never going to be able to prove it. People like Candace Owens has made a mockery of this discussion. And so that's why I've stayed away from it. So I get that, right? But you can't get so worked up that you're running off the show and doing all of this. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just really ridiculous. And here he goes. So let's see what this tool is going to say, and then we'll cut it off.
I think that it's nefarious.
Nefarious.
At face without
He loves that. Nefarious. I thinks that. All right.
putting any other objective reasoning behind it. I think it's malicious because when I watched Benjamin Netanyahu say what he had to say, I didn't think it had anything to do with politics. He had actually had a conversation on the phone with Charlie. Whichever way that conversation went, he's on a phone with Charlie. So that means he know him well enough to communicate with him on the phone. Charlie sent him an email. He's been to Israel multiple times. Like, it's only fitting that a Jewish person whom Charlie loved, at least he loved the country and what they stood for, to give condolences to Charlie. And that's what he did. He said, it's a great man. He's honorable. And people turn it into something crazy is bizarre to me.
Honestly, if you want to do that, by all means do it. But it was never discussed, and I don't want to do it on a platform that I'm participating on. We had just...
Good for you. And you don't have to, right? It's just, it kills me that this is acceptable behavior for somebody who would be, you know, like, what so you're going to call yourself, what do you call yourself, like a journalist or some freedom talker or whatever? I am Haitian, and I see so many things said about Haitian people. I don't leave platforms. I've been in heated debates about Haiti, and I didn't say, oh, this is too much for me, I'm out of here. No, let's break it down. This was unprofessional behavior. This needs to stop, okay? Listen, I want a sovereign country. We're going to keep talking about Israel until that happens. We're going to figure something out. This is ridiculous. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.